Jason, and I'm back now with Alexis Boyan from the Young Philanthropists Foundation here on Colorado Gives Day at ICOSA Magazine Studios. Welcome, Alexis.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about Young Philanthropists.
So Young Philanthropists Foundation exists to teach kids about giving back to the community. And so we really believe that the earlier you learn to give, the more likely it is you're going to grow up to give. But that learning about giving back is really fundamental to the health of an individual and ultimately the health of the community.
Wow, and so you founded this organization. How did you get interested in this?
I did. Actually, I got interested in it in a roundabout way. I was living in New York on September 11th, and I watched the towers come down from my balcony in Brooklyn, which was...
Just got a little chills.
Yeah, it was a tough experience, but from that I created a project called the September 11th Quilt Project, and it was made up of individually designed squares of cloth that was a giant American flag. And the cloth came from all over the world, and we toured the country with it, and it's now part of the Colorado Historical Society's archives. But that experience for me was so transformational on a personal level in that I came away really understanding who I was and what I had to give. And I started to really think about, what if kids knew this about themselves? Because if I have it in me, everybody has it in them. And so I really started to think about kids giving back and did a lot of research and found...
Did you have kids at the time?
I didn't. No, I was, you know, I don't know, maybe 27 years old or something. But I really wanted to be able to give kids an opportunity to get to know themselves. And I talk a lot about my introduction to myself being in service to others. And I think it's true for a lot of people, and it's also true for kids, we find. So that's how we got started here in Colorado. There just wasn't anything serving the population that we serve, which is mostly kindergarten through 8th grade students, teaching them in a hands-on way about giving back.
So let's talk a little bit about the hands-on. We have these adorable little kids that are kind of related to us here in the studios the other day, and they were talking about the penny harvest. Yeah, penny harvest. So tell us what that is.
So penny harvest is an amazing program, and actually we brought it here from New York City. It started in 1991, and it was started by a father and a daughter. And at the time, he was a stay-at-home dad, and he was pushing his daughter down the street in her stroller, and she saw a homeless man and asked if they could take him home. And he had to say no, but instead they went through their apartment building and they gathered everybody's idle coins, and it turned out to be $1,000 that they donated to a homeless shelter. So fast forward 22 years now, and it's a national program, and the Young Philanthropists Foundation holds the rights for the state of Colorado. And the way it works is that elementary and middle school kids spend about 8 weeks in the fall gathering pennies from friends and family and neighbors. And then in the winter, they turn around and they use that money to make grants to nonprofits that they've researched and interviewed. It's 100% up to the kids where it goes.
And how do they, like, is it by classroom or by school?
It's usually school by school, and each school will select a smaller group of kids to be the round table. And these are the kids that have the decision-making power about where the funds will go, but they make the decisions on behalf of the whole student body. So it's really important that they keep everybody in mind as they're going through the process, which is a difficult process. And then ultimately they decide who gets what and how much, and they can give it all to one place or 5 places or 10 places. And at the end of that process, they'll often partner with one of their grantees and do a service project. So they have a really complete picture of, this is what it took for us to bring this money in, this is the process we used to evaluate the impact, and then ultimately we get to see what it did.
I can't imagine. Have you ever had a chance to watch the kids kind of convince each other and do the research about where they want the money to go?
I have, and it's amazing. I mean, I think, you know, we're really founded on this idea that kids are often overlooked and underutilized as a resource for change. And it's so true. When you go into this process and you watch them debating the merit of these different organizations and really coming to compromise with how they're going to divide up the money, it's a remarkable thing that they're capable of so much more than we give them credit for. And we see that over and over again every year.
Wow. So is this happening in all schools in Colorado? If someone out there is watching and they've never heard of this and they want to make sure that their kids are being exposed and have the opportunity to participate, how would they do that?
So they can get in touch with us. We're in 53 schools right now. And we have the capacity to take a lot more schools. And so if somebody's interested in bringing it to their school, they should go on our website and shoot us an email. Our website is ypfoundation.org, and we can talk to them about how to get it into their school.
And then what are some of the ways that you use the money that you raise throughout the year and on this day especially?
Sure. So as I mentioned, the kids go about collecting pennies and making grants. 100% of that money is theirs to give away. It's completely separate. It's also a free program to the schools, and so it costs us about $2,500 per school to put the program in, and that covers everything from the materials. Each school receives kits that have collection sacks and bags and curriculum and all of those things. It covers the training costs for us. It's a train-the-trainer model, so we train the teachers in the school to run the program. So we incur costs that way. And then it covers our program manager who runs the program and does a beautiful job of that. And so we fundraise to put the program in the schools. And then we have 2 additional programs we also run. One is called Impact Factory, which is a servant leadership program designed for 5th through 8th grade students. And then one is a Family Volunteer Day series where we take parents and kids together and do service projects with them that benefit local nonprofits.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And so tell me about the one that's 5th to 8th grade. What do you do differently with them?
So Impact Factory is great. It was actually named by the kids in the original program. They named it Impact Factory.
Impact Factory.
Yes, and we take 15 5th to 8th grade students every year, and we put them through leadership education. So everything from Leadership 101 to business etiquette to public speaking to diversity and inclusiveness. And then each year they select one issue that they really want to study. So last year was youth homelessness. This year is kids' health, in particular kids with life-threatening illness. And we bring in people working on that issue that teach the kids about what they're working on. And then the kids plan and execute a capstone service project for Global Youth Service Day in April around that issue. So they'll partner with a nonprofit to do this big service project. And they do service projects in between as well.
Wow, you guys are doing some really cool stuff. Do you need volunteers? Like if there's someone out there that really relates to what you're doing, what do you do?
We always need volunteers. We need volunteers, you know, sort of episodic volunteers, people to help us pick up pennies and those kinds of things. And then we have a lot of volunteer opportunities on our various committees and on the board of directors as well.
And tell me again your website.
www.ypfoundation.org.
ypfoundation.org, which stands for Young Philanthropist Foundation, which I love. I think so many parents, I'm a parent, my girls are teenagers now, and around this time of the year you always think about, you know, donating your time and trying to instill those ideals and morals and values in your children. But it's great to know that there's a resource out there to kind of help you start really young.
Yes.
And to model it and to keep them interested and excited about being a philanthropist.
That's right. And you know, just to keep in mind, the #1 place that kids learn to give back is at home. So if you're interested, you should start thinking about what you do and think about whether or not your kids see you do it.
Yeah.
So try to get them involved with you as soon as possible.
That's one of the things I love about Colorado Gives Day, is because I think it's such a great way to learn a lot about all of the different ways that you can give back and find the one that speaks to your heart.
That's right.
So you can get involved, you know, not just write a check, but really get involved with something that's important to you.
That's right. It's a great way to teach values.
Fantastic. Sure. Well, Alexis, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck today at
you.
Colorado Gives Day. And make sure you check out, we're having a big celebration tonight. You can click on, I think it says, join our celebration tonight here at Icosa Studios in honor of Colorado Gives Day. This is Sandy Grayson and Alexis from Young Philanthropist Foundation.
Thank you.
Thanks.